The Trails of Nomads scientific expedition continues its work in Georgia. In this program, we will tell you how the glorious path of the Kipchaks on Georgian land began. What do you know about the heroic ancestors who participated in the Battle of Didgori, the descendants of which Khan was the Kipchak girl Gurandukt, who became the Georgian queen? Learn these and other questions in today's program. The history of an established state is written with a stone. The history of a dilapidated state is written with tears. There are such words of admonition of outstanding personalities. Our great ancestors immortalized their great path full of heroism and trials on stone. The Chronicle of the People covers a vast territory stretching from Altai to the White Sea. This is evidenced by the results of studies of the next strip of the Trails of Nomads scientific expedition to Georgia. This time, the team of scientists led by Sapar Iskakov, at the special invitation of the Georgian administration, arrived to participate in the Didgoroba festival. The national holiday is celebrated annually on August the 12th. The main events take place not far from Tbilisi, next to Mount Didgori. In 1121, right on this spot, the Georgian king David the Builder fought the Seljuks and defeated them. Thus, the reign of the Seljuks in Georgia ended, and a new era of revival started in the state. Historians call this period the Georgian Gold Age. Now we are in the Didgori Gorge. Behind me is a historical building, a complex, which was erected in Georgia in honor of the great battle that took place here in 1121. Every year, many people come here to celebrate the holiday which marks the victory in this battle. However, these events are not held on the Republican level. This time the holiday fell on Monday. Despite the working day, there are many people. Former Georgian Prime Minister Mamuka Baktadze took part in the Didgoroba festival. This speaks about the special attitude in the country to this holiday. Now the Georgian military personnel are being awarded the Didgori Cross Medal for their courage, and this is deeply symbolic. The victory in the Battle of Didgori, on the one hand, is a vivid embodiment of great patriotism. On the other hand, it is the implementation of a correct and favorable strategy, which has been an example for centuries. A few days ago, the Patriarch of Georgia said that the Didgori battle is still going on for every Georgian person. Actually, it is. Thanks to the right strategy, unity, and tireless work, we will be able to be a united and successful state. I deeply believe in this. Former Prime Minister of Georgia, Mamuka Baktadze, gave an interview to the film crew of the Trails of Nomads scientific expedition. Project manager Sapar Iskakov was invited to the reception.
Italy, Batoni, Safari, Sakoviari, Chamobuki. Be, Kahlep, Lex, Ostavert, Saukunashi, Katamosuli Halki.
Georgia showed special honor and respect to the representatives of the Kazakh delegation, and this is natural. After all, our ancestors participated in the Didgori battle. Artik Khan, at the head of a detachment of 40,000 Kipchak soldiers, supported the army of David the Builder and helped Georgia gain independence. For us, that is, for the Didgori 1121 public organization, the arrival of Sapar Iskakov in Georgia on the eve of the Didgoroba festival is of great importance. In this historical battle, the Georgian king David the Builder, thanks to the support and help of the Kipchak warriors, won. Therefore, we are pleased that the Kazakh delegation is participating in the celebration of this important event for us. The Battle of Didgori is a fateful event in the history of Georgia. If the Georgians could not win this battle, then the future of the state would be vague. That is why the wise ruler David the Builder asked for help from the Kipchak tribes inhabiting the North Caucasus. Thanks to the fulfillment of all the conditions of the Kipchaks, he gained their support.
Біздің бабаларымыз 900 жыл бұрын
900 years ago, at the invitation of David the Builder, our ancestors led by Artik Khan came to the territory of Georgia from the North Caucasus. Their main goal was to protect the territory of Georgia from invaders. At that time, the Seljuks, Arabs, and Persians carried out aggressive campaigns and threatened Georgia.
Грузияның территориясына қауіп төндіріп тұрды бірталай.
According to researchers, some 300,000 Seljuk troops opposed nearly 56,000 soldiers of David the Builder in the Battle of Didgori. Some of them were Kipchaks. Despite almost a six-fold superiority, the combined Kipchak-Georgian army won this battle. The Kipchak warriors mastered perfect military tactics and played a decisive role in the battle. Historical documents mention that even later, in the 20th century, the commanders of the troops studied the tactics of Artik Khan. The Didgori Valley is a symbol of military power, unity, and freedom. Several centuries ago, our ancestors defeated the enemy that was several times larger in number. This amazing victory is inscribed in history. 9 centuries have passed since the Battle of Didgori. Despite the long term, respect and honor for this event only increase. The valley where the battle took place has now turned into a large memorial complex. This is an open-air museum. Participants of festive events do not come here empty-handed. Someone carries handicrafts as souvenirs. Others offer guests to taste national dishes. Still others demonstrate national customs and traditions. That is, the Georgians demonstrate their culture here. Theatrical performances telling about the Battle of Didgori and the victory are staged here. This time, the artists of the Sachkire Paolo Iashvili Theater are in the spotlight.
Я играл сегодня царя Давида.
Today I played the role of King David, who is the most famous ruler in the history of Georgia. Our church calls him Saint David. Therefore, playing the role of David is a great honor for me. King David once resettled 40,000 Kipchak warriors with their families to the territory of Georgia. The Kipchaks defended the borders of our state. They fought in the Battle of Didgori and provided great assistance to the army of King David. This is how Georgia achieved victory. For us, it is a great pride. The ancestors of modern Kazakhs also participated in the liberation of Tbilisi. After the victory in the Battle of Didgori, the united Kipchak-Georgian army liberated the city from enemies. Thus, the capital of Georgia was moved from Kutaisi to Tbilisi. The trails of Nomads team this time stopped in Tbilisi. The members of the expedition, led by Sapari Skakov, visited Sukhumi State University, met with directors Rob Konilidze and other scientists. During the conversation, the parties addressed the role of the Kipchaks in the history of Georgia. Georgians treat Kazakhs very well. Thanks to our ancestors, warm ties were established. They feel closeness and perceive us as kindred people. Therefore, we must show them the same respect. The Kipchaks, led by Artik Khan, did not just provide assistance and support to the Georgians. Queen Gurandukt was from the Kipchak tribe. It was she who initiated the allied negotiations between the Kipchaks and Georgians. In some historical sources, she's called Turandot, that means daughter of Turan. But her real name is unknown. There is evidence that she is the granddaughter of Saru Khan and the daughter of Artik Khan. The book History of Georgia says the following. Georgian King David was married to Gurandukt. That is, David IV was the son-in-law of the Kipchaks. Thanks to these family ties, the Georgian king received the help and support of the Kipchaks. Yet, according to researchers, not a political factor, but real feelings made King David marry Gurandukt. In 1107, David IV divorced his Armenian wife and married a Turanian girl.
Царица Грузии – это бесспорно.
Gurandukt is the Queen of Georgia. Nobody disputes this. Historical sources describe her unprecedented beauty. When Gurandukt arrived in Georgia and wore Georgian national costumes, even the local ladies were delighted with her. The great poet Nizami spoke about the beauty of the Turan girl in his famous poem Seven Beauties. This part is called Kansha Turandot. Nizami himself was also the son-in-law of the Kipchaks. Kipchak girls were intelligent and beautiful. It is known from history that they broke the hearts of many rulers. For example, the mother of Alexander Nevsky, the wife of Yaroslav the Wise, and the wife of the Hungarian king were Kipchak women. At that time, European women took an example from the Kipchaks, the wife of the Hungarian king. The headdress she wore, saukile, later came into fashion in the Old World. Queen Gurandukt was also a trendsetter. Queen Gurandukt, according to the etiquette of the palace, had a high position and wide powers. David IV treated his wife with great respect. Therefore, everyone in the palace reckoned with her opinion. According to historians, a detachment of guards called Monaspa is 5,000 Kipchak warriors who guarded the royal dynasty. At the same time, our ancestors had a great influence in the Tbilisi palace. Of course, this position was also achieved thanks to the authority of Gurandukt. Queen Gurandukt, as well as David the Builder, participated in the construction of the Golden Age of Georgia, and she deserves the highest honor. One of these sources contains information about a Kipchak girl who became famous throughout Europe. Everyone knows the play Princess Turandot by the Italian playwright Carlo Gozzi, who lived in the 18th century. There is an assumption that the main character of the Turan girl is Gurandukt. After the death of David, his son from his first wife, Demeter, became the king. Thereafter, the throne was inherited by the descendants of Demeter. Nevertheless, the children from the second wife of David, Gurandukt, also had the privileges and rights of representatives of their ruling dynasty. Members of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads visited the Museum of Art of Georgia, which is located in Tbilisi. There are valuable exhibits related to the Georgian kings, including the golden cup of Bagrat III, the pendant in the form of a cross worn by Queen Tamara, and the board of David IV, cast in gold and adorned with precious stones. I liked one exhibit, which was supposedly made by order of David IV. This is a golden altar. David was a religious person. He gave all his jewels to make the altar.
Бәрі соған беріпті. Жаңағы нені жасатуға алтарды.
Scholars have noted that Gurandukt, like King David, was also deeply religious and devoted to the Christian religion. In 1125, after the death of her husband David, she moved to Jerusalem and spent the rest of her life in prayer. Kipchak women also made efforts to develop the Orthodox Church there. The content of the letter found in the archives of Notre Dame de Paris confirms this. It was sent in the Middle Ages by the cantor of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Ansel. The historical document was sent from Jerusalem to Paris with part of the sacred cross. As it is written in the letter, King David kept this cross during his lifetime as the apple of his eye. Therefore, Gurandukt, as a will of her husband, brought it to Jerusalem. On the sacred land, the Kipchak woman embarked on the path of godliness and, at the request of the patriarch, led the community of female nuns. Gurandukt managed the community with great responsibility, helped those in need by sharing the gold brought from Georgia. In difficult times of famine, she endured all the difficulties and hardships along with everyone. This is also mentioned in the letter. The letter, which tells about Gurandukt and the cross, are kept in the archives of Notre Dame de Paris. No one knows the burial place of Turanian princess and the fate of the heirs. According to some sources, David and Gurandukt had a son named Vakhtang. David asked his eldest son Demeter to raise Vakhtang and make him a ruler if he was capable of governing. Unfortunately, Vakhtang, who lost his father early, was never allowed to reign the state. Nevertheless, the Kipchaks played an important role in the political life of Georgia.
In the
12th century, 250,000 Kipchaks moved to Georgian land. Some of them settled there. Our organization has identified families who consider themselves descendants of the Kipchak, and we continue to search for the legacy of the Kipchaks. This work is ongoing. Our goal is to support all the information found from a scientific point of view. According to scientists, 20% of Georgian surnames have Turkic roots. In addition, Borchali Azerbaijanis in Georgia and Meskhetian Turks are classified as direct descendants of the Kipchak tribes. In general, the Georgian kings were interested in the fact that the Kipchaks settled on the lands allocated to them. The proof of this is the term Mesa Kipchaki, which is found in historical documents. This is a special tax for the population, which was then paid to the Kipchaks.
Даже Давид Ахмашенебели приказывал отдавать самых лучших там.
There is information that David IV ordered to marry the most beautiful Georgian girls to the Kipchaks. That is, he wanted as many boys as possible to be born in Georgia, who would become as brave warriors as the Kipchaks. After all, the glory of the courage of the Kipchaks was known to the whole world.
Степняки, они же приспособлены по натуре, по выносливости и по даже построению тела, в принципе-то, да, к этому.
The Kipchaks were distinguished by their mastery of the art of war not only under Artik Khan. They have mastered it since ancient times, have always developed and improved their skills. Historical sources say that at the beginning of the 7th century, Tbilisi was conquered by the army of the Western Turkic Khaganate. During that period, the Turkic-speaking Khazars appeared on the historical arena. The city of Tbilisi became the capital of their Khaganate. The Arab historian Al-Masudi wrote in the 10th century that the Georgian and Agbaz principalities were subordinate to the Khazar state. There are many similar historical facts. There are monuments and exhibits. Some of them are kept in the Simon Janashia Museum of Georgia. Members of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads visited this center of culture.
Ұлттық музейде болдық.
We visited the National Museum. We saw weapons that our ancestors used, horse harness, gold items. All these remained from our ancestors. Speaking of ancestors, I mean not only the Kipchaks. After all, before them, there were both Scythians and Albanians. The descendants of the Turkic Kipchak tribes who remained in Georgia today live in Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Iran, historians say. Therefore, the expedition's presence at the Didgoraba festival is very important for the study and development of historical ties.
Бізбен бірге Қазақстаннан
Members of the Nomad ensemble arrived with us. They're good artists, a team of 6 people. They performed at the festival as well. For the first time, a foreign ensemble participates at the Didgoraba festival.
шетелден келіп отқан осындай ансамбль.
The performance of the Nomad ethno-folklore ensemble involuntarily immerses the audience into the Middle Ages. In 1125, after the death of David IV, the Kipchak tribes led by Artik Khan set off again. The reason for the return of Artik Khan to his homeland was a song about his native land performed by a kin who was sent by the Khan's brother Sirshan. This information is described in historical sources. The works of the Nomad ethno-folklore ensemble convey the spirit of that time, thanks to masterfully made instruments. Artik Khan's brother Sirshan sent messengers several times and asked his brother to return to his homeland. He even sent him a bag of wormwood so that his brother could smell the native steppe. It was this that had a very strong effect on Artik Khan. The smell of wormwood struck him, and as a result, more than half of the 200,000 Kipchaks who once migrated from their native lands returned. The rest of them remained in Georgia at the request of David IV. A meeting with scientists was organized at the arrival of Sapar Iskakov at the Tbilisi Independent University. Badrin Achkabel, deputy head of the TV24 media holding who participated in the meeting, announced his proposal on the Battle of Didgori to the participants. The Kipchaks play a special role in the life of the Georgian people. The Kipchak warriors made a significant contribution to the victory in the Battle of Didgori. We celebrate this event every year. For the wide promotion of this event, we propose to make a film together with the Kazakh side. If you support, then we're ready to take on part of the financing and broadcasting on Georgian TV channels. Sapar Iskakov, while participating in the celebrations of Didgoraba, gave an interview to the Georgian media. In his speech, he proposed a number of initiatives to develop and strengthen relations between the two countries. Firstly, our ancestors fought here, shed blood together with Georgian soldiers. Therefore, an obelisk with their names should be erected at this place. Write down how many soldiers participated: Kipchaks, Georgians, Ossetians. Secondly, David IV was at the head of the battle and Artik Khan was at the head of the Kipchaks. Therefore, monuments of these two outstanding persons need to be installed in the center of our current capitals, Tbilisi and Astana. In this case, the connection between the two countries will develop with renewed vigor. The Didgoraba festival is a wonderful event that inspires people. Similar events, according to Sapar Iskakov, should be held in Kazakhstan as well. We had similar battles on the territory of Kazakhstan. Big memorial complexes need to be erected on the battlefield, and it is necessary to hold holidays there every year with the involvement of young people. Another trip of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads to Georgia was very fruitful and informative. The next task is to confirm all the information from a scientific point of view.